Welcome to News Briefs. Today is Friday, August 29, 2025. Let's jump right in. Politics first. Internationally, the Trump administration received Russian President Putin with all honors. An important meeting, right?
Yes, it absolutely sets a tone, both in foreign relations and, domestically, too. And here in the United States, the immigration issue continues.
Yeah.
Well, let's say it continues to harden.
That's right. There was that court decision temporarily revoking part of the TPS, the temporary protected status. This directly affects about 7,000 migrants from Nepal.
Right. And it generates, a lot of uncertainty for other large groups, too. We're talking about 51,000 Hondurans and maybe 3,000 Nicaraguans. Their permits are only valid until September 8.
Exactly. It expires, right now. So the outlook is complicated. A real possibility of mass deportations if, nothing changes.
But wait, there's a sort of counterweight on another side of TPS, isn't there? Because a federal court of appeals, the Ninth Circuit, they put a temporary stop to plans to end TPS for Venezuelans. And that's a lot of people, almost 600,000.
That's right. They confirmed a previous ruling. So for now, that protection stays in place while the case moves forward.
Good. Okay.
And in parallel, it looks like deportation priorities are being redefined. The focus now seems to be on individuals with serious criminal records.
I understand. A shift in focus.
And another strong piece of news, a first group of 7 deported migrants was sent to Rwanda. This is part of a bilateral agreement.
Rwanda. Okay, let's see.
Yes. And the agreement suggests Rwanda could receive up to 250 people. It joins South Sudan and Eswatini as African countries taking deportees from the U.S.
Okay. And, a lot of attention is turning to Chicago and other sanctuary cities now. The Trump administration announced these large-scale immigration operations for next week.
Yes, possibly starting September 5. A significant deployment of federal and immigration agents is expected, kind of following the model used in Washington, D.C., right?
Exactly. There, according to the official figures, they reported 1,369 arrests. They said it included undocumented individuals, but also alleged gang members. Mara Salvatrucha, Trendy Aragua, and they also dismantled homeless encampments there. The border czar, Tom Holman, he confirmed a large deployment for Chicago, though, without giving exact numbers.
And there's data backing that up. The New York Times reported preparations at the Naval Station Great Lakes, north of Chicago.
Yes, there's talk of about 250 agents, something like 40 vehicles, and equipment like rubber bullets, pepper spray. Holman himself mentioned conversations about setting up a temporary ICE headquarters at the naval base. Seems like things will intensify after the Labor Day holiday.
Of course, this is already generating reactions, right? The governor of Illinois is accusing the administration of trying to interfere in the 2026 elections, basically intimidating voters.
Yes. And on the other hand, you have pro-immigrant activists strongly criticizing it. They're calling it a raid against the most vulnerable, against homeless people, similar to what they denounced in Washington, D.C.
Exactly, arguing that beyond security, the action just harms the most unprotected people.
And there's already been tension elsewhere. In Los Angeles, ICE agents actually used tear gas.
Tear gas, wow. It seems like that's the first time in this type of operation. It happened during raids at Home Depot stores in Westlake.
Were there arrests made there?
Yes, arrests were made. Meanwhile, the president, he remains firm against mail-in voting, still saying it's corrupt. Plus, he ordered the National Guard deployment in Washington, D.C., and there are plans to send troops to other cities, citing crime.
And that didn't go down well in D.C. at all. A survey indicated that 61% of residents feel less safe with the Guard there.
Okay, let's move on to some very sad news from Minneapolis.
Yes, terrible. The victims of the school shooting at Annunciation School have been identified. Fletcher Merkel, who was 8, and Harper McKay, 10.
How horrible. And authorities are investigating this as possible domestic terrorism, right?
Due to a suspected hate ideology, yes.
That seems to be the main hypothesis. It's based on letters they found, believed to be from the shooter, Robert Westmark, a 23-year-old transgender person and a former student.
Is it known what the letters actually said?
They haven't revealed the content, said it was to avoid potential imitations. They are looking for Westmark's mother, who apparently has already hired a lawyer.
And the number of shots fired.
Impressive in a horrifying way. 116 shell casings found at the scene. The police chief said that Westmark tried to barricade themselves inside the church where the shooting happened.
The testimonies from the parents must just be heartbreaking.
Yes. Fletcher's father asked that he be remembered for who he was, not, how he died. And there are at least 2 other children still fighting for their lives in hospitals.
Just awful. Moving on to, more complex issues. The situation in immigrant detention centers.
Yes, the Los Angeles Times published a really worrying report on that.
It's quite grim. It talks about severe overcrowding. It says that a third of the detainees are in these conditions. A third.
A third? That's a lot.
And that 19 of the 49 centers actually exceeded their capacity in just the first half of this year. Plus, there are complaints about lack of hygiene, not enough food, people sleeping on the floor.
Almost a humanitarian crisis, as some are describing it.
That's right. And related to this is that whole case of the Alcatraz Detention Center in the Everglades, the one ordered to be closed,
Not
right?
exactly. But now the issue is the cost. Contracts were signed for $405 million just to get it running.
And that money, well, court documents suggest about $218 million that was already invested could just be lost. And get this, part of that money came from FEMA, the emergency agency.
Money for natural disasters used for a detention center.
Incredible. And closing it now would cost another 15 or 20 million. Reopening it later, same thing. There's criticism about lack of transparency, these quick contracts signed without bidding.
A very complex issue indeed. Okay, looking abroad now, tension between the United States and Venezuela seems to be rising.
Yes, there were reports of U.S. warships and troops near the Venezuelan coast.
And over in Colombia, President Petro sent 25,000 soldiers to the border to Catatumbo.
And curiously, Maduro, the Venezuelan president, actually praised that Colombian measure. Meanwhile, inside Venezuela, reports are surfacing about forced recruitment for the militia, especially in mining areas.
And shifting to the Middle East, the situation in Gaza remains absolutely critical.
Yes, the Israeli army began a planned offensive in Gaza City, met with a lot of international condemnation.
And the hostages.
Tragically, the remains of 2 hostages held by Hamas were recovered. The death tolls are just terrible. Over 63,000, according to Gaza authorities. 59 new deaths reported in just the last 24 hours.
Let's turn to Mexico now, a crime there that really shocked the state of Jalisco.
Yes, very shocking. TikTok influencer Esmeralda Ferrer, 32 years old, was murdered along with her husband and their 2 children, just 13 and 7, in Guadalajara.
What's known about what happened?
Their bodies were found in an abandoned truck. The family was originally from Michoacan. At first, there was some talk about her social media activity, showing a luxurious life.
And now, has the focus shifted?
It seems like it. Now the investigation seems to be looking more into the father's activities. Something about vehicle sales, maybe tomato cultivation. Let's see what comes out.
Okay, moving to the economy. Trump's tariff plan is now in effect.
Yes, new tariffs impacting agreements with quite a few countries. The UK, China, Vietnam, Japan, Philippines, Indonesia, the EU, South Korea, Pakistan.
That's a long list.
And tariffs on countries without prior agreements, too, like India, Switzerland, South Africa, Venezuela. There's even talk about plans for 100% tariffs on chips and semiconductors not made in the U.S.
And the measure affecting online purchases. Goodbye to the de minimis extension, then.
Exactly. That historical rule, it was over 100 years old, allowed packages under $800 to come in tax-free. That's gone.
Who does that affect most?
Primarily shipments from China and Hong Kong. Huge volume there. The government expects to collect something like $10 billion a year from this change.
And the reasoning behind it?
They say it's to combat smuggling. They specifically mention fentanyl, and also to protect intellectual property.
What about Mexico?
For those de minimis packages from Mexico, which is the 6th largest source, a 25% rate will be applied. Mexico's actually temporarily suspended parcel shipments until it's clear how this will all be collected.
And the impact on people and businesses.
Well, for consumers, estimates are around an extra $30 per year per household on average.
Yeah.
It definitely affects small businesses that relied on importing this way. And yeah, the big platforms like Amazon, TikTok Shop, Shein, Temu.
Ugh, yes, especially Shein and Temu. They use that extension a lot. They'll have to adjust their model quite a bit.
Changing topic, but staying with finances.
Yeah.
Beef prices are through the roof.
Yes, historical prices.
Yeah.
Ground beef at $6.25 a pound, up from $5.49. Steaks are up almost $1 a pound.
Why so high? What's going on?
It's really a mix of things. Droughts, the high cost of cattle feed, plus strong summer demand just reduce the supply. All of that pushes prices up.
Okay. And to close that economy, a little bit of chance, Powerball.
A tremendous jackpot. For tomorrow, Saturday, it's $950 million. That makes it the 6th largest prize in history.
Wow. If there's a single winner and they take the cash?
They'd walk away with about $428 million. Before taxes, of course. Not bad, huh?
Not bad at all. Definitely not.
All right, let's go to technology. Apple has set the date for its big event.
Yes, September 9th at Apple Park. Everyone's waiting for the iPhone 17.
And there are those rumors of an Air model, right? supposedly super thin.
That's the word. Could be the thinnest ever, maybe 5.5 millimeter, might even replace the Plus model. We're expecting design changes, new cameras, and definitely the integration of AIA, the Apple Intelligence they announced.
And what about Siri? Any updates there?
The improved version of Siri seems like it might be delayed until next year. The event's slogan, though, is dropping, playing on the idea of being left speechless.
Meanwhile, the global AI race is just heating up. China's building massive data centers.
Yeah, 39 centers in Shenyang just for AI development, supposedly using about 115,000 chips, and interestingly, many of them are American-made.
That whole chip situation is so complex. And speaking of tech with problems, the New York airport situation. Ugh, yes. A telecommunications failure on Thursday. Operations were temporarily suspended, led to over 300 delays.
And the problem was the communication between the tower and the pilots.
Right, exactly. They had to cut way back on the number of landings per hour, affected thousands of passengers. Terrible timing, right before a long weekend. The FAA is investigating.
Okay, let's get into sports. Formula One is back.
Yes, the summer break is finally over. This weekend is the Dutch Grand Prix at Zandvoort. Free practice started today.
And it's one of the last times at Zandvoort, isn't it?
An Ultimate Edition, yeah. The contract ends in 2026.
In basketball, we've got Eurobasket and AmeriCup going on.
Correct. Eurobasket is spread across Cyprus, Finland, Poland, and Latvia, and the AmeriCup is in Managua. Some notable results. Puerto Rico beat Panama pretty handily, 93-59, and the U.S. is already into the AmeriCup semifinals.
Football now. MLS is in the final stretch of the regular season.
Yes, teams are fighting for those playoff spots for the MLS Cup 2025. And the big news for this region, Mexico is hosting the opening match of the 2026 World Cup.
Confirmed. June 11th, 2026 at the Azteca Stadium. President Sheinbaum announced it after meeting with FIFA's Infantino.
That's historic, and the NFL season starts next week.
Thursday, September 4th is the kickoff game. The Eagles, the champs, against the Cowboys in Philly.
Great divisional classic to start things off.
And Friday, September 5th, there's that game in Brazil. Chargers against the Chiefs. The NFL keeps expanding.
Let's check in on UFC, some recent results.
Yep. In UFC Shanghai, Johnny Walker won the main event. Sterling beat Ortega in the co-main. And earlier, at UFC 319, Khamzat Chimaev became the new middleweight champion, defeating Dricus du Plessis.
Good stuff. And we'll close with entertainment. What's happening in U.S. cinemas this week?
Well, a classic is back. The re-release of Jaws for its 50th anniversary came out in 1975.
50 years. Incredible.
Yeah.
Any upcoming premieres to watch for?
September 5th brings The Conjuring, The Last Rite. Then on the 12th, we get The Long Walk, Downtownia, the grand finale, and Spinal Tap 2.
And they're already putting dates out for 2026.
Yep. Dune Part 3 in January. Also Den of Thieves, Panther, a horror Peter Pan called Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare, and Werewolf.
Speaking of filmmakers, Guillermo del Toro is auctioning part of his collection.
Yeah, something like 5,000 objects through heritage auctions. He said it's partly due to the risk of fires where he lives in Palisades. And his Frankenstein film premieres on Netflix in November.
Interesting. And there's a short film getting some buzz called Sundown.
Directed by Rafael Agustin, who wrote for The Virgin. It's a horror film about sundown towns, those historically all-white towns in the U.S.
Wow, what a dark topic to tackle. What's the plot?
Two friends get lost in one of those towns at night. The director mentioned it was inspired by something personal and wants to show that this isn't just history, that these kinds of issues still resonate.
Powerful stuff. Okay, shifting to celebrities. Selena Gomez's bachelorette party was in Mexico.
Yes, down in Cabo San Lucas. She's getting married next month.
Uh-huh.
Benny Blanco shared some photos online. And Karol G is going to sing at the Vatican.
That's right. September 13th at the Grace for the World event. Pope Leo XIV will be there. She's performing alongside Andrea Bocelli, Pharrell Williams.
That's a tremendous stage. And she's also doing the NFL halftime show in Brazil, right?
Exactly. For the inaugural game played there, she's everywhere.
Okay, finally, anything on awards? Emmys, Grammys?
You know, the usual rumors and predictions are starting up, but this week, no concrete announcements, no official nominations or anything like that yet.
Okay, a lot going on, as always.
Until next time.